Hi, and welcome to Old English Outfitters YouTube channel. I'm Alan, and here it is, a brand new year, 2020. So we thought we'd kick this off with a review of a pistol that we've had some pretty good feedback on from customers, and that actually is a pretty nice little gun given its price point. Pistols generally have been popular sellers, as you probably all know, especially concealed carry guns and such, and there's a lot to choose from. But you don't have to spend a ton of money to get a really good product that shoots well and handles well. Taurus has had a series of guns for a few years ago called the Millennium Series, which was pretty successful for them. So last year before, they refined that and came out with their G2 series. So they started with the G2C, which we've reviewed here. It's kind of a compact pistol, 12-round magazines. They follow that up with the G2S, which is the exact same gun, only with a thinner grip and a 7-round magazine, which is kind of nice if your hand size requires a thinner grip. So the next one they came up with is this one, the G3. The G3 is the G2C type pistol. It's the same action, same design, except it's a full-size pistol. So you got a full-size grip and a full-size barrel. This gun comes with a 15-round magazine and a 17-round magazine. The 17-rounder has a sleeve on the bottom that slides like that, okay? So that sleeve makes up the difference down at the bottom. The only thing about this pistol I really didn't care for was that sleeve, because it's kind of loose. It doesn't stay on there real well. If you took it off and you shot it without it, no big deal. Sleeves, sometimes they get loose and then you ram them in and you catch your hand to catch your palm or something like that. So that was the only part of this thing that I really didn't like. But I got to tell you, I like this gun. This is a nice pistol. We've sold a few of these. We had pretty good feedback on them. And when you talk about price ranges and things, some of this stuff gets fairly expensive. And typically, part of that comes not just from the brand, but from what features it has. This gun we sell these new for $250. And for $250, you're getting a lot of gun here. As I said, it's full size, but the G2 series generally, and this one is a good example of that, has this fairly aggressive texturing on the back, on the front. This is a nice idea right here, boys and girls. A lot of guns don't have texturing on the front, and you ought to have that, especially if you're shooting it fast. Keeps the gun from wanting to move left, right on you. Keeps it going straight up and down like it should. This is aggressive, but it's not too aggressive. We were outside in the cold. It's probably, 28 degrees or something like that. And just shooting this without gloves. And you'd think, because in the cold, your hands get a little more sensitive to things. Really wasn't bad. Didn't bother me at all. It has a depression here on this side of the grip. Same thing on the other side of the grip. So if you're shooting it one-handed, your thumb kind of naturally falls into that depression. So it gives you a really good index. Up here in front, on the front of the frame, you've got what they call memory pads. I call them index points. They're not checkered, but there's a depression right there. Same thing on the other side, which gives you a good index point for your trigger finger, so you're not on the trigger till you're ready to shoot, just like you should be, right? We got front and rear cocking serrations. I use the front cocking serrations on this pretty good, very positive. They're not super deep, but they worked really well. Got a rail up front, so you can put a light or a laser or a combination on there. You've got the usual trigger safety piece and the internal firing pin safeties that most of this stuff these days has. The magazine release is reversible. It does have a thumb safety right there. It's not ambidextrous. It's configured for a right-handed person. I didn't use it while we were out there and didn't notice any issue with it. The thumb safety is very positive. It clicks down, it clicks up. It doesn't float around, it's not mushy. When it's down, you got to push it to get it up there. So, and it's low profile enough, I don't think you're going to get into it unless you're trying to. When it's in that up position for a right-handed shooter, it's in the perfect place to sweep down with your thumb, like that, just like you would with a 1911 type safety or something of that nature. The sights are fixed on the, if you remember on the G2C, the rear sight has some adjustability in it. It's kind of a two-piece thing the way it's designed. You move it left, right, up, and down a little. The rear sight on this one is fixed. We shot it at about roughly 20 feet. We shot at plates, and just for fun, we threw an old shotgun shell up on the berm to see if our sights were really well regulated. Dead on the money. Dead on the money at 20 feet. No complaints. Got a little witness hole right there. It's pretty small, but it gives you the ability to look inside and see if you've got a round chamber there. That's pretty small. If you've got bad light or something, they're not going to do very much good. But you can always press check it with the front cocking serrations to see if you're chambered or not without any real trouble too. This is a nice pistol. We put about 100 rounds through it, and it was dead on the money and worked really well. We had one stoppage, and that happened on the second round. So it was the 15-round magazine. Put it in the gun, fired one round, and the slide stopped in the open position. So I take a look, and we were using some Winchester flat nose ammo, and the round had nosed right into the feed ramp and just stopped. I cycled the slide once, put it right back in battery. We reloaded those same magazines a number of times, didn't see that afterwards. So not really worried about that. New gun, probably just breaking a little bit, which you can see. As you know, you ought to shoot these things. You buy one for defense, you ought to shoot it. Make sure it works. Not worried about that single stoppage. That could have been very easily as much ammo related as it was the gun, although the other stuff we did worked fine. So not concerned about that at all. Very nice pistol, very controllable. We fired single rounds. We fired quickly, multiple rounds. We fired several double taps, the bang bang rounds. Very controllable. Trigger reset is not bad. It's about right there. So it's not terribly long. Reset pretty good. Trigger press pretty good. Sometimes with striker fired guns, as you know, if you dry firing it and you're watching your front sight, you pull it, you get a little bit of a wobble in it. Not so much in this. Didn't notice it too much. Shot really, really nicely. For $250, you need an inexpensive, full-size defensive pistol that you can take out and shoot well. Here you go. This thing's pretty good. To take it apart is just like the other G2 series guns. First thing you do, obviously, was as you do with anything, right? We make sure it's empty and safe. One more time, we make sure it's empty and safe. Never try to take apart, maintain, anything like that if you got any ammunition in the gun. Once you're sure it's empty, you close the slide, and then just like with the Glock pistols, you can back the slide up just a little bit, okay? Just like that. I'll just put my thumb behind the tang, squeeze the slide open just a little bit. Just like with the Glocks, you get the same setup. You got a plate that runs through the frame. Get your thumb on one side, forefinger on the other side, pull that plate down, hold it down. Here's what's different, though. With Glocks, as you know, you pull the trigger before you do this. Here, you just hold it down, let slide go forward. Now we pull the trigger, and that releases the slide to come off. Captured recoil spring and guide, so you end up with the same major components that you end up with most of these things these days. Frame, slide, barrel, recoil spring and guide. Nothing small that's going to float around, cause you any trouble there. The manual that comes, this gun's come in a cardboard box. You get the 2 magazines with them, you get a manual. The manual explains all of the stuff that we're talking about, so you can always revisit it. Clean it, maintain it, just like you would any other semi-auto. Goes back together just like most other semi-autos out there. Barrel goes back in, recoil spring and guide goes back in. Get the slide back on the frame. And all you got to do is just take it, but just like with a Glock, take it back. That pops that lock piece back up, and we're back in business. You can go, price points on these things are all over the board, as you know. High points are down in that $150 range, roughly. You can go up to, and I'm talking about, because the C9, the high point C9s, is similar to this in overall setup, overall acreage, I call it, size of the gun. But it has a really heavy slide because it's a blowback gun. This is a locked breech gun, so it's a little more sophisticated. Shoots better than some more expensive guns I have fired. What did he say? Yeah, that's right. I said it. Shoots better than some more expensive guns that I have fired. For $250, this is a bargain. This pistol shoots well. It handles well. It's got some really well-designed features on it. The grip is comfortable. We would recommend it. If you're in the bargain for something, you're looking for something that you don't want to spend a whole lot of money on. Maybe you got some expensive guns and you want something reasonable to stash somewhere or have where if something happens to it, you're not out a ton of money. But you want it to be something good. It's got to work, right? Got to be reliable. If it's a defensive gun, it's got to be reliable. something you can take out and shoot and not worry too much about it. It's going to work for you. It's going to be comfortable to shoot. This wouldn't be a bad gun for a new shooter to learn this type of pistol on. Being full size, it handles recoil really well. Trigger's not bad on it. It's got lots of good safety features, and it's very ergonomic. So fits your hand really well, things like that. We like it. We've been selling these for a little while, and feedback on them has been very good, which is why we thought, we ought to just get one of these and shoot it and see if what these people are telling us is true. And I would say it is. It's a pretty nice gun. So there you are. For 2020, if you're looking for an inexpensive, good shooting pistol, come see a Taurus G3. So for now, I'm Alan for Old English Outfitters. Thanks for watching. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. You can comment to this. You can always check our website out. We've got these guns in stock. $249.99, so $250 plus tax. We've got plenty of accessories to go along with them. So if you're interested, come take a look, get one in your hands, see what you think. We appreciate you watching. Until next time, I'm Alan for Old English Outfitters.